Hello, everybody. My name is Carie, and this is the Creative Obsession podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is January 12th, 2017. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm coming to you from just outside of Portland, Oregon, and I want to welcome everybody. If you're a new viewer, this is a podcast about quilting and knitting and crocheting and creativity and craftiness. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. My subscriptions are going almost to 1,000, so I'm going to have a little giveaway because that's a pretty big milestone for me. Started this almost a year ago. My podiversary will be in February, and I'll have another giveaway for that, but I didn't want to wait till then to do a giveaway. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to just welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, and I will put that all here on the screen. And yeah, so let's begin. In this episode, I am going to talk about a couple giveaways, my finished projects, finished objects, my works in progress. I've got a really fun, I think it's a fun crochet project that I started that I can't share on Instagram, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit, and talk about the frogging that I did. So we are sunny today, so I'm hoping I don't have too much glare on my glasses. We got a ton of snow, which is super exciting. I know some people don't like it and they're tired of it, and we just don't get it that often. We might get an inch or two every once in a while, but we got almost a foot of snow here where I live. And so everything is completely covered in snow. The trees have got it piled on. I don't have to go out and drive in it, so I can sit back and enjoy it. And I feel bad for those that have to try and get around because it's tough. It's really hard. It's dangerous. The Portland area doesn't have enough snow plows and equipment and crew to deal with this much snow. So I saw today on the TV that they got snow plows and stuff out of Seattle, that they're going to help clear out the city because it's pretty much at a standstill. I think Portland was pretty much shut down yesterday. Today's looking a little bit better. Cars are stranded all over the highways and all that. Jim's able to get to work because we do have a pickup with 4-wheel drive and chains. So he's able to get in and out. He ended up coming home early yesterday, which was really nice because then he did the shoveling outside, which I usually do. And he shoveled the driveway. I try and shovel a path to the mailbox because we have a community mailbox that locks, and so the whole neighborhood goes to that mailbox. And I try and clear a path because not everybody's able to do that. My next door neighbor is an older guy and is not in the best of health, and so he can't, and I want to make sure he can get out and do what he needs to do. So Jim took that on yesterday, which was really nice. This is all going to turn into a big, huge mess come next week. So I'm enjoying it for what it is right now. We are expected to get a couple of inches of rain come like Monday-ish. Today's Thursday. And that creates a lot of problems because we have a ton of snow on the ground right now. And so you get the temperatures warming up to where that melts, and you throw a couple inches of rain on top of that, and we're going to have flooding. So hopefully we're okay here. We haven't had that situation since we've lived here in this house. We are pretty low. We're just about at sea level, not too far away from the big river, the Columbia River, that separates Oregon and Washington. And so if that gets too full, it goes over the banks, we're hoping it doesn't reach here. So we'll see. There's not a whole lot I can do about it right now. So anyway, fingers crossed that everybody ends up okay and safe. And for now, it's gorgeous and I love it and it makes me happy. I want to start with, what do I want to start with? I'm going to start with Lee, who owns, okay, let's start this over. Lee owns the Woolly Bags Etsy shop, and she makes DPN holders or needle holders, and sent me one for me and one as a giveaway. And she's got really cute ones, and she's also given us a coupon code. So I've got the other one on my needles. I had a really hard time deciding which one to keep. She said keep one and give one away. And so I sort of just did a closed eye. Let me just pick one because I wanted to keep them both. So this is the one that's going to end up in the giveaway. If you don't know what a needle holder is, it has a couple of snaps, and then you put your needles in. Let me show you the one that I've got in use. I use it because I primarily use circular needles, and so I just stick my needles in there, and then your knitting doesn't ever come off because it holds them. They're good for double pointed needles because you can stick your needles in and have your knitting come out the center. So this will be part of a giveaway for my Podiversary, but she's also given us, for the people that watch the podcast, a coupon code. So if you go to her shop on Etsy, Woolly Bags, and I'll put the link down below, and you can use the coupon code Creative20, and she's going to give everybody 20% off if you use that code, which was super generous, because, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into stuff like that. And so to offer things at a discount is a really big deal, I feel. So thank you, Lee. Please go visit her shop. These are really cute. She's got some other really cute ones. And support her, please, because that was really generous of her to send that for us. I will talk about the giveaway that I don't really know what I'm going to do all total for my Podiversary, so that I'm still kind of putting together. But I didn't want to wait that long to do a giveaway because it's been a little while since I've had one. So I wanted to do a giveaway starting now. If you go to the Ravelry group, I'm going to pose this question. What is your go-to movie that is like your feel-good movie, or the movie that you could watch over and over and over again and never get tired of? The reason why I asked this is because the other day, my most favorite movie of all time came on TV, and it is the Moulin Rouge. And it may seem like an odd pick of a movie, but that movie just makes me so happy. It's a musical. It's very colorful. It's so creative. I love the artistic way that it was shot. I love the creativity that went into making the movie. It's quirky, it's touching, it's a love story. It's just so great. It's a movie that takes place in France at the Moulin Rouge, which is a real place. And the music in it is current day music, or at least at the time that it was shot. I think it came out maybe 2000-ish. So music from then. There's music from Madonna, from the Police, from Queen, from David Bowie, to, I mean, like there's all, they used current music to be the music and help tell the story, which I just thought was so creative. So you can't take it seriously. It is done very quirky, but that's what I love about it. So that is my go-to. I watch it at least once a year. It is my feel-good movie. If I'm feeling kind of blue, I'll put that in, and it just makes me happy. And I don't even have to watch it anymore. If I just have it on in the background, I can visualize the movie because I've seen it so many times. So go to the Ravelry group and tell me what your feel-good movie is, or what your go-to all-time favorite movie is. And this is what I'm putting up for the giveaway. This is a skein of mine. That it is what inspired Cherry Blossom. So Cherry Blossom is in my shop. I think I might have another one or two left, but this was kind of first run with it. So it's not exactly what's being offered in the shop, but very close. So, but that I'm going to give this away. And I thought it would be good to give it away before February, because this would be good for Valentine's Day or a February knit. So you've got some pinks and reds and black and gray and all that kind of stuff. So for a skein of this, go to the Rav group, answer the prompt, and I will close the group, or close that thread like around the 25th of January, and I'll do random number generator, pick a winner, and send this to you. So that's that. One of the things, I'm moving on now, one of the things that you would have seen in the intro was me ripping out, frogging some projects. So I want to show you kind of how that ended up. Okay, so last episode I talked about having a couple of projects that I just wasn't feeling anymore. I wasn't enjoying working on them. one was a work in progress, and the other one was a finished product. I was wearing it. It was a shawlette, which at the time when I made it, didn't realize it was going to turn out so small. I was still pretty new at making that kind of stuff. And so I don't ever wear it because it's just too small. So I thought, you know what? I'd get more use out of it if I ripped it out and if I just knitted a pair of socks with it. So that's what I did. And I didn't feel bad about it. Wasn't even nervous about it. I was like, you know, this feels really good. Let's just move on. So I unwound it onto my my skein winder, kind of unraveled it and wound it onto that, tied it up so that it wouldn't get tangled up, and then soaked it. And as I soaked it, I kind of just gently pulled it because it was really kinked up. And then wrung it out. I put it in my washing machine just on the spin cycle and just wrung it out as good as I could and hung it up to dry. And here's my skein. So it turned out pretty smooth. There's only a little bit of like a kink, you know, but not that much. I mean, I really took the kink out of it just by when I washed it. When it was wet, I just sort of gently did this and it really smoothed it out, hung it up to dry, and now I have a usable skein. My plan is to just make socks with it because of the fact that I had knitted something with it and then cut the yarn. And I don't know how much is really on here anymore. So my plan is to, I'll weigh it and I'll split it. I'll weigh it and I'll split it. So I have 2 equal balls of yarn and then knit them toe up. So that way I can get through the toe and the heel and the foot, and then it'll just go as long as I have yarn, but they'll both be the same amount. So that's what the plan is for that. I don't have any plans immediately to do that because I already have a pair of socks on the needles right now. But that's, at least it's usable. And maybe something else will come up that I can use it. I can kind of guess weight-wise how much I have. But I just was really glad that I did it, because it's like I kind of felt bad that I put all this work into something and then it just sat there and it just sat in a drawer and I never wore it and didn't enjoy it. At least now, even if it's just socks, I'll enjoy them and I'll wear them. So the other one I ripped out was the batade shawl, which was the pink and gray one, if you watched last episode. And so I ripped that one out. So I have the gray that was the highlight kind of color. That was a full skein. So I still have all of that. The pink did have to, as you put the as you put the, that reminds me, I didn't talk about the quilt behind me. Just a second, hold that thought. The pink that was in each section was cut. So I have like a few little mini balls and then some of the pink. So that'll have to be used. I might be able to make a pair of socks out of it, but I can use it with something else in another project. But then that was nice to just get that off my chest, like off my shoulders. It was sort of weighing me down, thinking that like I really should get to that. I just really don't feel like working on it, but I really should work on it. And I'm like, I didn't feel bad about ripping it out at all. I didn't feel bad about it. So those were the 2 frogging episodes that I had that were really for a good cause. I was frogging for a good cause. I usually like to start my episode with what quilt is on the back wall, because that's just kind of how I started. And I don't know why I completely forgot that there was a quilt back there. It's not really any big deal of a quilt. I had seen this kind of design online on Pinterest or something. I thought, oh, I have to make that. I don't know why I see stuff and then I feel like I have to make it. Why can't I just see it and just go, wow, that's really cool. But I get this impulse to make whatever it is. So I did. So I just kind of figured out how to do it. I didn't follow a pattern. I'm sure there is a pattern out there. Basically, I made strip sets. So I took, you can buy fabric in 2.5-inch pre-cut strips. So I had a roll of those. You get 40 to 42 strips in a roll, and in the solids. And then I used a blue background and I made a strip set of 3 I did 3, and then used my Dresden plate ruler, which is almost a triangle, and just cut wedges, and then alternated it with wedges of the solid background color, put them together like a wheel. And it was fun to work on. It was for no purpose other than the fact that I felt like I needed to work on it. And I wanted to work with these colors for some reason. And I just went with it. So I made this a couple years ago, and Jim uses it on the bed. So I kind of made it for him because he needed a quilt to help keep his side of the bed warmer. So that's what that is. No pattern to refer you to. I know there's probably one out there somewhere, but I didn't use one. Gosh, I'm feeling a little bing boingy in my head right now. Maybe I need more coffee. No, probably not. I'll get some later. Okay. So now I want to go into my finished objects. Okay, so one of my finished objects is this. It's my Vente shawl. So I'm going to take it off. Hopefully it doesn't mess you guys up with my mic. I love this thing. Let's see, it goes this way. It is all done, and it's big. It's a great size. I didn't measure it. I just blocked it out. And it was weird when it came off the needles. I thought, oh my gosh, I hope this blocks out, because this is, this is tight. This is your kind of your cast on edge, and it follows along. And you don't cut your yarn, you just carry it through. And I really tried to keep my yarn loose when I did that, but there's no give to that. So when I took it off the needle, it was kind of almost like a ruffle, because this goes way out, like, oh my gosh, I hope that this blocks out. And it did. It blocked out beautifully. So the yarn I used, the red is my yarn. It was sort of an experimental dye kind of a thing. When I wet it to block it, I did get red in the water, so I just wetted enough to get it wet and then pulled it out. So that's why it's not in my shop, because I can't get it to be color fast. And then the gray, it's a light gray, and it's from Blue Moon Fiber Arts. It was some yarn that I got when I went there, and they had their like one-off sale. Like something was not quite right with the skein. I didn't find anything wrong with the skein. I never came across any knots or any funkiness. The only thing that I had an issue with is, according to the pattern, I should have had plenty of yarn. So the gray yarn, did I have the gray yarn was from Blue Moon Fiber Arts. Oh, I don't know what I did with the tag. I had it here, but okay, that's all right. Anyway, that's the shawl, and I'll put the link to the pattern down below. Great pattern. I would knit it again. I don't know that I will, because there's always something new coming out, but I would knit it again. So the gray, I was getting down, it supposedly had 405 yards or something like that, and I only needed 300 and something. But I got past the stripes, and then you get down to this last little bit right here, and all I had left was this. And it's long, you go through a lot of yardage to get from one end to the next. And I forgot what I should have done is, when I did this red one, because that was, like that red one, that was the first time you went all the way across with one color. I should have weighed my yarn to see how much how much weight it took to get from one end to the next. And I forgot. And I thought, okay, the next time I go past, I just kept forgetting. So I wasn't sure that this was going to be enough to go back and forth, because it takes a lot of yardage. So what I ended up doing is, I had some, I should have pulled it. I had some yarn. Yeah. So I had this. This was left over from my, what was it called? 3-color. Something wrap. I'll put the link down below. Anyway, it's basically like a, natural, like a white and kind of gray. It's got a few speckles of like a teeny bit of blue, like you can barely see it. But it was close enough to the gray color that I thought, I'm just going to use that. So I cut my yarn, and for these last 2 gray stripes, it's in this instead of this. So close enough. You can't really tell. It made me feel a lot more comfortable that I could get all the way across the bottom with that color. So yeah, so it's all done. I love it. I absolutely love it. I just wove in the ends last night as books so I could wear it. I was wearing it with the ends sticking out and I thought, okay, come on, really? You need to weave in the ends. So there it is, the Vente shawl by Anthony Casalina, sorry. Anthony Casalina. So you definitely recommend this pattern. Super easy to follow. It just takes a while. It takes me a while. Let me put it that way. I kind of wish I would have done it with purple. And if you remember back then when I talked about it, I was like trying not to just keep doing purple. Don't keep doing purple. And so I was trying to get out of my box. And I'm glad I did. But this would have been really pretty if it was in purple. So I'm just going to wear it like this for now because I'm warm. So that was a huge FO because that took me a few months to do. So this is what I got left of the yarn. Not much. Felt like I used pretty much everything. So I don't know. I wonder if with the Blue Moon Fiber Arts, if it was a second because it didn't have the right amount of yardage, maybe. I don't know. Go figure. But it worked. It turned out. It's all good. Okay, so then I have to explain this. Of course, I have a story because I have a story about everything, right? So my next FO is the Decibel shawl that I was making for my friend for her birthday. And I got it all done, followed the pattern, got it all done, put it out to block it. And it was like, this isn't very big. Like it was like maybe my wingspan, and I'm not very tall. I don't have very long arms. I actually have short arms. So it wasn't very long, and I thought, this, according to the picture, this is like really long, and I wanted it to be longer, so it gave her more options on how to wear it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I double checked on the pattern because I was making little tick marks, and I'm like, yeah, I did everything. Used the right needle size and all that. I didn't do gauge because it's a shawl, and I'm an average knitter. I don't knit tight. I don't feel like I knit loose. I just sort of knit average. And so it bugged me, and it sat there for a while. I pinned it all out, blocked it all out, got it to dry, tried it on, and I'm like, it's just too short. I wouldn't wear it, and she lives in a warmer climate, so I doubt she'd wear it because she wouldn't wear it like right up next to her neck. I wanted it to be a little looser. So what I ended up doing is, after it's all been blocked and dried, I took out my cast-on edge, took that all out, and I thought, I'm just going to keep following what the pattern was and just keep adding as much as I can add with what was left of my skein of yarn in the sea glass color. And so that's what I did. And I just knitted and knitted and knitted. So I still have ends to weave in because I had to reblock it. So here's a peek. So I ended up adding this yellow green stripe, which is part of what these are, just for interest, just because I could. That's about where I started over again. So I did add another, say, 1.5 inches to the depth of it, but it added, maybe 3 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches on each side. So it did make it a little bit longer, and I just knitted until I was out of the sea glass. This is what I have left. So I couldn't have made it another round. I did it until I was done. And then I knitted one row in the citron color and then bound off in that. So it is done. It's still not as long as I had hoped it was going to be, but it's better. It's a lot better. I do feel like she will be able to wear it a little bit better. So I am happy with it. It's a real easy one, kind of like how Pure Joy from Mohi Locatelli is easy. I do kind of like that extra little stripe of the citron color because, I don't know, because I could, and it made it interesting. So I've got to weave in the ends and then get it in the mail. I got to get it in the mail soon because her birthday's next week. So it's done. That was kind of an FO turned into a whip, back into an FO again because I don't know what happened. I honestly don't. I don't know if it's, maybe she just knits tighter. I don't know. So it's the Decibel Shawl by Lisa Mutch. According to this, let me see how much the yardage was that you needed. Like 380 yards of the main color. That's what's left out of 400 yards. And I still don't feel like it was as big as what the picture shows. So take it for what it is. Good pattern though. I mean, it was super easy. So another FO that felt really good. That was a pretty big project. So I had a couple of big FOs that I got done. So now I want to show you what my whips are. If you remember last episode, I talked about and showed the colors I was going to use to make my Find Your Fade shawl. I got started on it, and so that is one of my whips. So here, oh gosh, let me get this off. There we go. Here is my fade. So I've started, this was my raspberry beret, then it went into, what is this called? It's one of my colors. Oh my God. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen because right now I'm having a total brain fart. So I am loving the way this is fading. So I'm only into the second color. I have to do a little bit more of the garter stitch, and then I think you do another lace before you fade to the next color. And then my next fade is going to be that, which I think will be really cool. Well, I was showing Jim, and I said, oh yeah, what do you think? And he goes, you know what that looks like? And I said, yeah, I know. It looks like a G-string or a thong, because that's what everybody's saying. He goes, no. This shows our age. So I think it looks like a dicky. Okay, so remember the dickies? This is going to mess up with the mic, but remember the dickies? You wear it, and then you have your little shirt, and it looks like you have a turtleneck on underneath. So, yeah. But, what can I say? Okay, so the next thing that I want to show that is a work in progress is my socks that I'm working on. So you know how I've said before, I think I do better with vanilla socks. I do better with vanilla socks. And of course, no, I have to do a pattern. So I saw on Instagram, Kay, who is Morning Thaw Knits, posted a pattern she was doing. And I'm trying to join the Knotty Knit Wits Socket 2017 sock cal. Anyway, go to the Knotty Knit Wits and you'll see. So I picked up this pattern. I'll show a better picture here, and it is the Swirly Socks by Prairie Girl Designs. And I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. That's super easy, and it is. I just haven't been working on it a whole lot, but I've knitted this far, which this is in the this is in Cherry Blossom. This was, I had, as I was working out the formula. So I thought, oh, I'll knit these and I'll have them for February. Probably not going to have them for February because this is still the first sock. Cast on my 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeter needles. And I'm thinking these look kind of big. So slip it on my foot. And I'm like, it fits my foot, but there's no negative ease. It just fits my foot. And I thought, this feels kind of big. So the only thing I can think of is because you've got these purl stitches that make the swirl, which I think look really cool, but I think that makes it a little bit bigger. So then I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I could rip it out, and this took me a while to do because, again, you have to count in your head, and it's hard to have your mind wander when you're counting in your head. So I contacted Kay and asked her, did they seem big? And she said, well, they fit the same as Hermione Everyday socks. And I thought, okay, that helped because my Hermione Everyday socks are too big. So I think it's because of the added pearls in there. So I can keep going, get to and through the heel, which is usually a little tight on me. And then when I go to do the foot, reduce the number of stitches. The only thing is the pattern, like you don't do the pattern underneath, so that's going to already kind of close it up. I don't know. Either that or I rip it out and start all over. which I could do that. But then I'll never get a pair done for January. It's kind of iffy if I'll get a pair done for January anyway, because to do a pair a month for me is a lot. Because I've been really wanting to work on the other projects that I've got going. So I don't know. I'm still sort of like, kind of on the I don't know stage with this. If I ripped it out, I would just do vanilla sock, which would be fine, but that's a lot of knitting. But I just ripped out a whole entire shawl. So why does it? What's stopping me is because I really want to have a pair done for this sock cowl. And so if I have to start over, that's probably not going to happen. But when they're big like this, they're comfortable because they're not squishing your foot. But then you go to put your foot in your shoe and it all like bunches up. Fun pattern. I think it looks really cool. I don't know what you can see on the camera, but I'll insert a picture then. So that's my sock whip. So yeah, go to the Knotty Knit Wits Ravelry group on Ravelry, obviously, and they have a year-long sock cowl that they're doing, and I really want to participate, but I'm not doing very well. That's all right. What are you gonna do? Okay, so now I'm going to show you my next whip, which is a crochet project. Okay, so when I decided that I wanted to do a crochet blanket with my fingering weight yarn, I got on Ravelry to see what else there was out there besides just the granny stitch or the granny stripe, because that wasn't what I wanted to do. So in searching for a crochet blanket, I came across, and it's new to me, so I'm sorry if this is like old news or like not all that interesting, but it was new to me and it grabbed me and I have to make it. So it is Color and Shape Design is who designed it. And she designs these blankets that use what she calls a popcorn stitch. So I don't know if that's really a technical term for what the stitch is, but that's what she calls it and refers to it in this pattern. And using that popcorn stitch and single crochet, those are the only two stitches that you do besides chaining, you make words. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm sure this has been done for years, but it's new to me, so bear with me here. I have a friend whose son's getting married in May. And so it was like this whole, what do I do? I could make a quilt, but that's expensive and it takes time, as will crocheting a blanket takes time, but I can do it for a lot less money. So I had at the time, I thought, well, I can make it out of Knit Picks Brava worsted. It's a nice acrylic yarn. It's soft. It's nice to work with. If I kind of run out of a color down the line, I can always order more. There's no dye lot necessarily. So I thought this is a good way to go. I can make the entire blanket for like $40, $50, something like that. I was like, oh, I was all excited about it. I thought, okay, I have some of this Brava worsted in my stash. Let me see if I can even do this. So not knowing how to crochet, never heard of a popcorn stitch. So I looked on YouTube. The gal has a YouTube video. It's a really bad video, sorry to say. You can't see what she's doing, but I kind of got the gist of it. And it took me a long time, a really, 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 really long time to make this. So this is like many hours of ripping out, redoing. I was like, I think I'm following the directions, but I didn't know how to read crochet and I'm still learning it. But, you want your popcorn stitches to line up and they'd be off and just like, what am I not getting? So, the instructions are written very differently than knitting. And so I would change the verbiage, but that's just how my brain works. And so obviously there's a standard way that you write a pattern. So I eventually got this square done and I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to get a whole blanket done by May. This takes me an entire day, this little square. So I put it away and I thought, no, that's just not going to happen. but it just was nagging me at the back of my head. I really, really wanted to try and make it work. I just loved the idea of it. And so I got my yarn out again, and I thought, let me try it again. And the second square, I made a second square, and it turned out. And I'm like, hey, look at that. I made another square. And it was a little faster. And I'm like, okay, cool. I think I can do this. And so I just thought, let me see if I can make a bigger one. So then I made one of the bigger ones. Like, okay, that even worked out. Okay, so this is good. I've got more than a 4-inch square. I really think I can do this. So I went ahead and ordered the yarn. It should come tomorrow. Because it's really fun to work on. And what I like about it is you make these little blocks and then you kind of put it together like a quilt. And so I thought, easy to work on because you just work on a small section. And I'll have to learn how you stitch them all together, and I'm sure that's going to be a pain in the neck. But if I don't get it done by May, then I'll give them a card saying, I've got something I'm working on for you, and you'll get it when I'm done. It doesn't have to be finished. I'd like it to be, and that is going to be my goal, but I'm not going to stress over it. What's neat about the way she does have you do these baubles is the back side is really smooth. So the side that you're going to be laying up against is really nice and smooth. This yarn is really soft, and they can throw it in the washer and dryer. More than likely their dog is going to trash it, which is why I didn't want to spend a couple $100 on a quilt. So for $40, $50, I can make this. So I was able to make that, and I thought, okay, what I really need to do is see if I can do one of the bigger blocks that has a word in it. So what this ends up saying, it's got these like blocks that kind of fill in, but the words say, trust in the Lord with all your heart, Proverbs 3.5 or whatever. I'm not a religious person, but they are, and so that will go good with them. So I thought, let me see. And so looking at the color that I had this silver gray, which is going to go in it. Is that right side up? Yeah. So I got this one done, and I'm like, okay, that is pretty cool. I just think it's really cool. I love having text even in quilts. So, I mean, what a special gift that they'll have. So that's my big crochet project. Like I said, I pretty much used up all the yarn that I had that are in the same colors that I got for their quilt. So their blanket. So it'll be the silver. It'll be this kind of greeny blue, and then this denim-y blue, and then a white and like a cream color. So those are their colors. I looked on where they're registered to see kind of like if they had towels or bedding or anything. And so those were the colors that they had listed. So she's got a lot of other ones and some that aren't religious. And it's like, okay, if this works out, this is kind of a fun project. So, so that I can't show it on Instagram because, one of them, I don't think both of them follow me on Instagram, but one of them I know does. So I can't show it. I can't show what it is. So I will just show progress here on the podcast because I don't want to spoil it. So it may or may not get done for them for their wedding, but it will be close. And then that way, that's kind of like a sock project, sort of, when you just need a little small project to take with you. I can take a block or 2 blocks or whatever and get it done. And I think it will just make a really unique, special gift to give for them. And I'm really enjoying working on it. Like, that's really what I want to work on. It's kind of reminds me of back in the days when I did cross stitch, which I don't do anymore because the arthritis in my hands it's too hard for me to do it. But, you kind of follow the same thing. It's like you do so many stitches, single crochets, and then you do so many popcorn stitches. And if you can follow that and keep that all straight, everything lines up and it works out. So that's super fun. So then I did make some progress on my other crochet blanket. Not a lot, but I wanted to show you because Lee sent me some minis. Is there a right side and wrong side to crochet? I know with that blanket there is because it's got the popcorn stitches, but this looks the same to me on both sides. So I don't know if there's a right and wrong side, but I got this whole section done, and those are all done with Lee's minis that she sent me. This top pink one is mine from the batad shawl that I took out, which had these little kind of gray pink. So yeah, not getting very far because I haven't been working on it a whole lot. But that was really fun to get some minis because I was kind of running out, like, what am I going to use? All I have is stuff left over from my previous projects and stuff. So those are all of that. What I'm going to go into next is my, let me tell you about something else that I got. Something else I ordered from Little Prairie Purl, and she is Jaden, and she makes these really cute gift tags, and I got these because I have the shawl that I just finished, and then the blanket and that, and so these are really cute little gift tags that you can put on your knitting, and they have just kind of cute sayings. It's like, this is for you because I love you the most. This took forever. If you don't use this, then no more knitting for you. This is for you, so take care of it like your firstborn. Why, yes, it's handmade. No, it's not cheap. This took me forever to knit. You better use it. Made with love, except when I messed it up and threw it, which I did do kind of the other day. But congrats, you've been deemed worthy, one of the few. So I thought those were really cute. She is Little Prairie Purl on Etsy, and so I ordered another pack. It will be part of the giveaway for the Podiversary. So go check out her shop. She's also even got a podcast, and I'll talk about some new podcasts that I watched, and hers is one of them. So her podcast is Little Prairie Purl. I'm trying to get these back in the bag. Okay, Little Prairie Purl, and she's out of Saskatchewan. I don't know how to say it. Saskatchewan, Canada? I think that's how you say it. She's really cute. I've enjoyed watching her. I just got turned onto it from her. She put it on the back of her card, and she's got like 5 or 6 episodes, so it's easy to catch up on, and she's enjoyable to watch. I've enjoyed her. Another new one that I found a couple new ones. Another new one that I found is Relatively Crafty with Christy, and she is now living in Colorado. Prolific knitter, knitting for a really long time, knit some really big projects, and I like watching her. I feel like I can connect with her. So she is a lot of fun. I guess she had another channel that she talked about the books that she read. So check her out, and then if you're interested in the book part, check that out too. I didn't write down what that was. Another one that I came across is called Craft House Magic with Ellie, and she's over in the UK, and she quilts and she knits and she crafts, and she's got a really good energy, and I enjoyed watching her, and so I'm trying to kind of catch up on her. She's relatively new with just a handful of episodes as well. So those are 3 new good ones, new to me good ones that I really would recommend that you check out. I have enjoyed them a lot. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go into what is in my shop. I have a new shop update with some new yarns and a new bag style that I worked on that I still have to make a couple of, but I want to share with you what that is. Okay, shop update. I've got some new colorways that I added to the shop that I still have a few left over of, and then a new bag style that I'm making. I've been wanting to make like more of a tote size because now I've gotten some bigger projects. I've got a couple of blankets. A lot of people are working on sweaters and that kind of thing. So I made this size. It's I don't know what the measurements are right offhand, but it's got some long enough handles that you can throw it over your shoulder or carry it. And then I did snaps, and I did 3 snaps because it helps keep it closed for one, but then you can also use it for yarn management because you can feed yarn up through any of these. You end up with 4 sections basically that you can feed yarn through because of the way it snaps. So if you were even doing a project, you got a couple of socks going, or some color work, 2 socks at a time, that kind of thing, you can kind of help with your yarn management. So this particular print is just fun. It's dark purple with very colorful circles. And then you've got like a dragonfly turquoise fabric on the inside. There are pockets on the inside. Right now I've got 1, 2, 4 skeins. I could probably fit a couple more skeins in there. So you can even use this if to go to knit night and you want to throw a couple of bags in a bag, and off you go. So I've got some more fabric that I'm gonna make this size in. So I will post on Instagram when these go in the shop. They're not quite ready yet because the first one that I made I kept for myself because it's prototype and that's just what happens. And so anyway, this one's done, but I've got a couple more like I said. So new bag style. I won't have a ton of those in there because I don't know that there's a huge draw. I might be wrong. Prove me wrong. Then some new yarn colors that if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I posted them. If you are a follower of my shop, that you've seen these, but I wanted to show you here in case you're not connected in those ways. So I have Cherry Blossom. This is the way the color is now. This is my original color. So it's very, very close. And maybe it's only me that can tell the difference. I don't know. But this is in my shop. This is similar to Cherry Blossom, but more in the red. And this is Date Night. So deep red into some pinks with some black. And then this is a unique color. I think it's a unique color. And I called it Couch Potato. I don't know why. It just came to me when I was dyeing it. So you've got some golden yellow with like a wine color and teal. And it's funny because I'll show you what this goes with. It actually goes with a lot of different colors. It's a pretty color on its own, but it goes with a lot of colors, which I'll show you in a second. Another new one I did is Mardi Gras. It's Mardi Gras season, and that is super colorful. We've got some neon green and purple and teal and pink and some orange and speckles and fun. And then I've got Seaside Rendezvous, which is kind of a coral and a sand color and some light turquoise. And then I've got Poolside, which is a tonal, mostly solid turquoise. These two go together really, really well. Does that go together? That actually goes pretty good too. So Couch Potato, which was funny about this one, this was sort of experiment, like what happens if I throw these colors together? And I liked it, but look at how well it goes with Hidden Beauty. It goes really well with Hidden Beauty. It also goes really well with denim. Just a dark blue. Goes well with that. Goes really well with Through the Woods. Look at that. I think that goes really well. It goes really well, whoops, with Autumn Blaze. There's a few Autumn Blazes left from my fall update. Goes well with that. So this is one of those colors that would look good by itself, but it actually goes with a lot of stuff. So keep that in mind. So that's my shop update. Look for my new bags. Follow me on Instagram. I will post on there when I'm going to have a shop update. That's really the best way for you to know and keep updated unless you favored my shop. Which that time, I think if you go on Etsy, it'll say, oh, something new from one of your favorites, but I don't know how you get notified necessarily. So that's all I have for today's episode. Thank you so much for sticking with me if you've made it all the way to the end. By now you're used to the fact that my brain ping pongs all over the place. So hopefully you've been able to keep track with me, and have a really great day. Have a great weekend. I will plan on editing this today and getting it up probably later tonight. Depends on the YouTube gods and how quickly they let me upload this. So, you know, stay happy, stay safe, be creative, and I will check back with you next time. Thank you for watching.